Hi there, I'm Trish Lynch from IOHR TV. Welcome to our show NGO Focus. Today we are in the stunning city of Oslo here in Norway. No wonder it's won the European Green Capital Award of 2019. It's stunning. Now, many organisations are needed to fight and preserve the nature that Norway boasts. Today, we will meet with the General Secretary, Maren Esmark of Friends of the Earth Norway, the oldest and one of the largest environmental protection organisations in the country. They campaign today's most urgent environmental issues to protect the conservation of nature for future generations. Let's now go to the studio and find out more. Maren Esmark from Friends of the Earth Norway, thank you for joining us today. Now, in your mission, you talk about not exceeding the carrying capacity of nature. Tell me what that means, and have we exceeded it?
Yes, we have exceeded the capacity of the Earth. The UN panel for climate tells us that we are already in the midst of climate change, and we're very soon reaching 1.5 degrees. And just a few weeks ago, we got the report from the UN Nature panel, also saying that 1 out of 8 species on Earth are about to go extinct. Okay. So yes, we are exceeding our limits.
Tell me about the recent success, the big success that you had just off the Lofoten Islands.
Yes, that was it was an amazing day. It was the Norwegian Labour Party that finally voted for keeping the Lofoten Islands free from oil and gas exploration. This has been one of the biggest fights for the environmental movement in Norway for the last 2 or 3 decades. And every time we get a new government, we have to fight to avoid these areas being opened up. And then through the years, we've campaigned together with the fishermen and lately also together with many of the unions. And then finally, I think it was the youth parties, the political youth parties, that managed to turn around the mother party. So the Labour Party said no, and then we have most of the political parties now say no.
So now it's off the table.
Yes.
So you can concentrate your efforts on something else.
Yes.
And it can be another thorn in the side.
Yes. And our next step now will be that we're joining Greenpeace and Nature and Youth in their court case against the Norwegian government to try to stop the opening up for new oil licenses in the Arctic.
A great success.
Yeah, we're
absolutely
hoping.
Fantastic. Climate change. On May the 24th, there was a second strike here in Norway as people took to the streets to campaign against climate change. Tell me about the programme that you've invited people to join and the kind of response that you've had.
Well, the climate strikes is amazing. We see people who've been working on climate change and environmental issues for many years, and they say that this is historic. The size and the numbers of the youth, it's the biggest demonstrations ever for the youths in Norway. And it's really emotional to see the kids in the streets.
We had a similar thing in the UK. Kids took the day off school and they turned up in their thousands, taking over whole areas, whole districts, just to campaign and to have their voice heard. And I'm assuming it was a similar thing over here.
Yes. And it was many places in Norway, not just here in Oslo. So the first strike, it was 40,000. I mean, that's enormous in Norway.
Yeah.
And the last one now we had 10,000. So it's great to see the movement that Greta Thunberg has created.
Absolutely. So moving then from climate change onto pollution. In your mission, you talk about legal pollution and the limits. So what is the legal pollution limit?
The legal pollution is the limit set by the EU on how much pollution there can be around a city to make sure that your environment is healthy. And both in Oslo, in Bergen and Trondheim, the biggest cities in Norway, on cold winter days, often we exceed that limit, and it's actually dangerous for kids and for people with asthma to go outdoor because there's so much pollution in the air due to the traffic.
Private cars have increased 5-fold over the past 40 years, which of course, as you just said, has a huge impact on people's health and on the environment. What kind of steps are the Norwegian government taking to try and stop this?
Well, mainly they're taking steps to increase the pollution because they're building out all our highways, building bigger and longer highways, which increases the traffic also into the cities. But in some cities we see that they're now expanding the bus, the possibility to take bus, more trains, and also for bikes.
Yeah.
Slowly, but we're getting there. So some of the biggest cities, it's much easier now to travel with bikes. So something is happening, but we really fear the development where the government are going for more roads and more traffic.
Preserving nature, again, another thing that you're passionate about. It's should be at the cornerstone of everyone's agenda, but unfortunately it's not. What's the Norwegian government doing to encourage people to take more positive steps?
Well, we're not very happy with the current government when it comes to nature protection. We were hoping for a couple of new national parks, and they're working on it, but it's very slow. And we're also seeing that the protection of forest, for example, takes time. Our history in trying to protect our wolf is really sad. The Norwegian government, Norway shoots out a lot of wolves every year, although it's a very endangered species. So there's still things to be done in Norway to try to protect nature.
Tell me about the projects that you do with children called Eco Agents. Now, I'm assuming by the name that they do lots of good work, but they have a lot of fun at the same time. What kind of projects have they been working on, and how does it work?
Oh, the Eco Agents are great. It's an organization for kids. They work on many different projects. They work on plastic, reducing the use of plastic, and they have drones that they fly and try to look after plastic and garbage.
So they have all the toys really, which helps.
Yes,
yeah.
And they have a project on building hotels for insects, for flies and bees, so they can live inside like a hotel. And they also have something called the Kids Climate Panel, that are kids learning about climate change and meeting politicians and talking about climate.
And apart from the Eco Agents, you also have the Nature and Youth Group, which has attracted over 7,600 youths. What kind of projects have you been working on that appeal to so many of them?
Oh, Nature and Youth is a wonderful organization. They work with kids from 15 to 25. They work on, for example, trying to stop building of highways. They work on promoting more bikes, more buses. They have also played a major role in the campaign in Lofoten, building alliances with the Fishermen's Organization. And lately it's been a project, a campaign trying to protect our fjords. We have 2 big mining companies that want to start mining and dumping all the waste in the fjord.
Oh dear.
So Nature and Youth has been working together with the Sami people, for example, trying to avoid the project in Finnmark.
Overconsumption is a huge problem. We live in a consumer-driven world. What would you suggest to people who are watching this programme that want to live sustainably and sensibly? What should they do? What's the first thing that they need to embrace?
Well, the first thing is to vote for a political party. Well, first of all, go and vote. And vote for a political party that support the thinking that you need to do something with the overconsumption. And then secondly, it's hard, but it's trying to find transportation that is not a diesel car in your daily life, and trying to avoid the travels with plane very far away, because the long distance planes are
the carbon footprint.
That makes your carbon footprint be really, really large. And then taking holidays at home or close to where you live, and trying to buy things that are used instead of new. Repair your things instead of buying new.
There's a new thing for most people.
Yeah, very important. And talk about it. Talk about climate change at work. Talk about it at school, and make sure that this is one of the issues that we discuss, because the more we talk about it and get the feelings that it is important, the more we can do with it.
When we talk about climate change, people like Donald Trump believe that climate change doesn't exist. How much damage are people like Trump doing to the good work that you're trying to do?
He and other politicians also here in Europe that don't believe in climate change, they do a lot of harm, because we are now, again, using a lot of time trying to lift up the science and the facts, because there's a lot of people mainly on the right, that are denying that climate change is real.
Yeah.
So we do spend some time on it. But on the other side, when Trump decided to leave the Paris Agreement, for example, it also motivates others to do more. So many American companies, for example, they would go on and say, but we're still in.
That's good.
He might leave, but we're still in.
So it motivates others to do good.
Yes.
Maren Esmark, thank you so much for joining us from Friends of the Earth Norway and sharing with us the incredible work and what a lot of it there is. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Thank you. And we thank you at home for joining us today on NGO Focus. Please feel free to share this programme with as many people as you can, because living sustainably and living sensibly really is the cornerstone of everything we do. Join us again next time. From myself, Trish Lynch. Goodbye.